So, Jason, now this is your intro. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, everybody.
He did the countdown and everything.
Goddamn, Sean.
Frozen.
I was just here. I exist. Okay. Yeah. I guess welcome to Fabula Ultima. We're here. This is the Wonderlust campaign, and I guess we're gonna start.
It's like episode
okay?
2, but I don't actually know how we're breaking it up. Maybe it's not episode. It's the second session.
This is session 3.
Yeah,
This is
Sean.
session 3. Well,
What fucking
there's a pilot.
drugs are
Maya
you
wasn't even
on?
here for the pilot, so I don't count it. I only count sessions that Maya attends.
She was present at that
I was gonna say,
episode.
Not at
I
the
don't
pilot.
Think that's true
Yeah,
either.
she was.
I think the comedy of it is that I was basically not present.
She was there.
I mean,
No, I'm thinking of
Until
at
the
our
very
house,
tail end.
Jason, on the in the past.
Oh, with our previous character?
No.
Well, that was session.
Yeah, I don't.
That was session 4.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be session
That was
4.
like session. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah,
So this is session 3.
I was trying to be nice to Maya, and it turns out it was actually
I
me.
got-
Backfired.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to give a summary of what happened? Volunteers. Like to include you guys. Don't make me pick.
I mean, I can.
I'll pick.
You don't have to
Freaking-
include us.
You should by default. We should make it Maisie because she'll never. We should
It'll
make it
be the
Maisie.
abridged,
But
abridged
well,
version.
so we were imprisoned, and explosions and gunfire was happening, and we were in a car. We were in like the third car of a tram, and we were chilling. We didn't know what was going on, and Kestrel was incarcerated as well, but then they were like, hey, like, we got to get you out of here. And then Marie was also just like in the train, honorary guest. Long story short, we break out, we fight some guards, we kick their ass. Now we're all together and we're on the tram heading out of this area, probably headed towards the town. I think Jason would be really sad if we decided, no, we don't want to go to the town anymore.
Or if the train was set on a track that just like went off a cliff.
Yeah, we roll
Whoops.
really bad, and yeah. So that's
Session 4 will be new characters. That'll be fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very combat heavy last week. You guys managed to fight off some of the anchorite guards that had been guarding the little prison tram that you guys were in. Yeah, there was some chaos at the research facility that you were ostensibly being dropped off at. Kestrel boarded. She helped facilitate your escape. And we ended it with you guys basically just heading off down the tunnel in your tram to parts unknown, I guess, to wherever the tram's going to lead you to be. Do you guys want some time to sort of talk amongst yourselves as you chug along here? Or are you guys going to just sort of hang out in silence and you want me to skip ahead?
No. I mean, at the very least, Gunoff would be approaching Kestrel because I noticed that Kestrel is bleeding from the wrists, so it'd be something that I'd be as a apothecary. I'm really trying to make sure that she's all right. So at the very least, it'd be like, hey, are you okay? Are your wrists okay? You're bleeding.
She kind of nods a little bit. She's like, yeah, fine.
Is it okay if I take a look?
She kind of shrugs and kind of shows you, her little shackled hands.
Could you describe your shackled hands?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What's going on with them?
So they're like very thick, kind of, you think, shackles, except for they do have 6 around it, crystals that are kind of red that are implanted like in the sides of it and then going into the skin, and that's where the bleeding is sort of happening at, and they're kind of bound together by a chain that she possesses a key, but we haven't done that.
So he's gonna like kind of take a look and he's gonna pull out a little vial like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna get some of this some antibacterial cream and start kind of like rubbing it into to where the crystals meet the skin.
Yeah, she kind of flinches. And what is it supposed to feel like?
It's mildly numbing. It feels like a cream.
Mm-hmm.
It is mildly numbing, and it smells of lavender.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, she kind of looks at it and she's like, she sniffs it. Probably. She's like,
Hey, so
You know?
this is something that I make myself, and if you ever need it, let me know. But because we're going to a new environment, a place that you're not very familiar with, I'm a little worried that this might get infected. So this'll make sure it doesn't get infected. It should help with the whole. Hopefully it won't bleed.
Mm.
And it should make you feel better, and the smell, which I put in there as well, should help a little bit with the nerves. Is there anything else you need?
And she kind of looks at it, and you mentioned you were worried about her getting an infection, and she's like, no worry about infection. She takes that key that she's got, and she sort of unlocks her shackles. And when she does, the points of the crystals kind of come out on the sides and kind of unstick from her shackles. And she kind of pulls it off, and she shows you her hand, and the points in the skin where they had been injected heal up.
That's so amazing. That's incredible. Oh wow, I was so worried. I might still be a little bit worried, but these are very special things that you have here, aren't they?
And she kind of looks maybe a little nervous by the comment. She's like, see, no worry for me. Thank you, though.
Okay, but if there's anything you need, anything at all, let me know. I mean, I'm here to help you.
Okay.
Okay, let's
Thank
go
you.
up. Let's go and talk with Marie.
Yeah, I was gonna tell Maisie too. Seems like a good idea.
And so I'll take Kestrel up to Marie.
And Marie Sharp, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that was my name too.
Good.
Sorry.
So, Maisie,
I'm used to hearing Sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maisie, as a reminder, you know Gunolf already.
Right.
Probably pretty well. You were pretty close with his grandfather.
Yeah.
So you've just spotted this person that you know on a train randomly who's a fugitive or
right.
prisoner.
She's gonna ask like about what the heck happened, and I'm sorry if we already went over this like in the story, but she like asks what happened or what like made him be incarcerated or what's going on, I guess.
Well, with all of the hustle and bustle, I'm sure it was kind of lost. But basically, we were starting to look for Rosalind's sister. Sorry,
Neravine.
Neravine. Neravine. You know Neravine. She traveled with you guys for a little bit. And we were arrested after we found something of hers. I tried to get us out of the situation, but then they arrested us, and then they put us on this train. I mean, it was fortunate that I kind of ran into you, but I don't know what they what they had in mind when they arrested us.
And just because we're on a train, and Steve would interject here, hearing your conversation, and say, speaking of being arrested, the good news is we're not dead. The bad news is we went from prisoners to fugitives. So we should probably figure out where we're going next, where this tram is headed. Someone who knows the technology of this place maybe can take the steering over here.
Yes, I got it. I'll take it from here.
Sorry, seemed like a lovely reunion. Just want to keep us. We volunteered to come here, and then we killed the guards. So I don't think that's going to look very good on us.
We didn't kill the guards. We just we deflated the guards. That's the best way I could put it, Steve. These the people that we took out, they're not dead in a sense. They can still come back. It's just they don't have the physical means to.
So what are they, ghosts?
In a sense. And,
I was kidding.
I don't believe in God.
Where at?
That really shouldn't be that surprising with Sharp on our team.
It's, take a look at Miss Sharp here. Like she's kind of exactly their situation. If we were to puncture a hole in Mrs. Sharp's suit, no, absolutely not. I would never.
I just, gas form is different than she's a ghost. But fine, I'll accept it. Let's just figure out where we're going. Is there a town nearby? What do we got?
Looking down, we will be going into a town, something of a port town here. Jason, if you wouldn't mind.
If you'd like, make a. I'm trying to decide if you would know or if you live too far north. Make a insight. Make a double insight check for me, Doug.
Insight.
And Kestrel, I'll have to ask, do you reattach your shackles?
I do.
Okay.
I do that. As
Fine.
soon
Why-
as that interaction was over.
Don't worry about
Why are you doing that? Why
Hey.
are you putting those back on?
that. It's like the Leonardo DiCaprio sit up and point thing.
Yeah.
With
You have
go ahead.
You have the key. It's right there. I saw it. Actually, your hand was out.
Better this way.
Okay.
Sorry.
We can have secrets. That's okay. I respect it. Just making sure I'm not going crazy, because I feel like I'm going crazy. This last hour, it's not been good.
Is there a way that we can make it work without the chain part? I think I'm a little worried that the chain is going to drag on something and reopen the wound.
I mean, as the shackles go back on, the wound literally reopens because there's crystals going into her flesh.
And
Right.
So I don't know
She
if
smells
the
of lamb.
chains dragging are the issue. But she kind of shakes her head. She's like, "It's just how it has to be."
By the
Doug,
way,
what'd you get?
it was a 10, so it was a 7 and a 3.
Okay. You would know that there is a sort of I guess you could call it a port town. There are no ocean. There are oceans in like the undercountry, but you're on a tram. But there is sort of a port town. I don't know if you would know the name of it, but you probably would have heard, or essentially because you are a trader at some point. I don't know how often you travel underground, but there is one that sprung up maybe a decade ago, basically where a bunch of trams, the rail lines, essentially, there are more and more of them as time has gone on, and effectively enough of them had joined up in an area that a town sprung up around them. It's very sort of Western railroad type thing. So there is sort of a port town, if you will, somewhere in this area. Whether or not you could suss out that's where you're headed, it's probably a good bet. I mean, the town was built specifically because most of the rail lines all ran through it. So that's a good bet. You didn't pass through it on your way over here, so it stands to reason that at some point you'll pass at least by it, if not through it. But how much you know about that town other than its existence is I don't know, questionable. It exists. It's kind of new. So if you haven't been there in the last 10 years or decade, or even, I guess, less than that, it took them a bit to set it up, you wouldn't know. So yeah.
So it's we got something incoming, but I'm not entirely sure where it is or how fast we're going to be going to it. So we might be here for a little bit, or it could be coming up very soon. I don't know for sure. But I am here at the helm, so I once I see it, I'll be able to safely drop us off.
What was? Oh, go ahead, Kestrel.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask: are there windows on this tram?
There are.
I'd
windows
like
on.
to. I'd like to spend a lot of my time looking out at them, at the scenery.
Okay, what's everybody else doing as Gunolf is manning the front car? Kestrel's watching the window, and what's everyone else doing?
Kestrel, are you like sitting and watching the window, or are you like on the window? What?
I'm like, my face is
Okay.
plastered to that thing.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm like, whoa, so cool.
But what was the name of our new best friend, the Inquisitor lady who was arresting all of us?
That
Starts
was
with an F, right?
No, Yin, right?
Yeah, Yin.
Yin, so not even
Close
close
enough.
to an F.
Fien.
Maybe about as far away from an F as you get. Yin?
Yin.
Yin. Okay.
Y-N.
So I'm gonna, and we know her name, right? She introduced herself at some point. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask Chris's character, kind of maybe a little bit, somewhat quietly, but like, what are the chances that Yin is gonna just forgive us and let us go, considering that we killed or dispatched 2 of her guards and broke out? We probably can't just go back. Things have changed now, right?
Unfortunately, I think so. I think the Inquisitors are good at what they do, and what they do is suss out the truth. So we can certainly say that it was in self-defense. We can say that we felt like we had no choice. We can say they weren't. There's a way to get them back. They're not truly dead, but I don't know that she's going to look kindly on what we've just done.
Yeah, I was afraid of that, but I think you're right. I would like to cooperate. I don't know if it's an option anymore.
It's hard to say with the group we have together. There are some of us with more skin in the game than others. There's a part of me that just wants to turn back now and undo the damage that we can, but we also don't know what else was going on at that facility. There's another part of me that wants to get to our destination and rest up, let people heal their wounds, and figure out the next steps from there. If we're meant to follow where this book is taking us, I don't know that we can do it while we're being fugitives.
And then there's the issue of her, and I point to Kestrel, blood running down her wrists as she's on the window. We don't know that situation at all.
We don't. And I'm not sure what to make of the Kitsune. I'm not worried about her. I'm just don't know much about her. And I have 300 questions for Sharp that I'm sort of saving until we get somewhere safe and have a chance to catch our breath. But I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but the root of your question, I think, is the most important part, which is we're going to have to be very careful and watch our backs. What just happened is probably not something we can undo.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right, but no use worrying about it. We could get to the next town, and Yin is there with 500 Inquisitors ready to arrest us anyway. Not much we can do about that, so I'm just going to relax the rest of this trip.
Sure, I think that's for the best. We don't want people being on edge, so.
Nope. And I lay down in the seat and close my eyes. Maybe gonna get a power nap in.
I feel
Old man power nap.
Yeah, this is what you gotta do. You get to a certain age, you gotta take advantage of those opportunities.
Is he
and nap.
dead? Did he just?
He's snoring. He's very loudly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Peter, what's Albus up to?
Let's see. Are there like benches on the sides of the car, or like how is the seating arrangement?
There are seats
Okay.
on the sides.
So
Yes.
Albus is kind of just hanging out toward the back corner of the cabin, sitting on one of the benches, and has his giant cleaver sitting in front of him and using a whetstone and just kind of meticulously resharpening his sword, and kind of periodically perking his ears up and listening to conversations that he can pick up on. Just kind of keep him to himself a little bit.
Okay. Myru, what are you up to?
I think Myra's going to be sitting towards the front of the tram, kind of looking out the window as they're driving along. She's also just keeping to herself a little bit. Occasionally looks at her reflection, but seems to be thinking, not just looking at a reflection. There's a little more thought going on, potentially about her sister there. And yeah, just keeps to herself.
Sharp.
Very similar. But more, I feel like she would be kind of more in the center, maybe closer to where like Kestrel and like Gunoff were. And my hope and like in my head, that was kind of also where Steve and Rosalind were. So ideally kind of in the center, kind of just listening to conversations, but just kind of taking a beat and getting ready
Okay.
for what comes next, I guess.
Okay. And Gunnulf?
Manning the ship.
Okay. There doesn't appear to be anything wrong, at least on your end, as you're sort of looking over all the equipment and all the dials. Basically, the tram seems to be running in more or less perfect order. I mean, it's probably could use a maintenance. It's probably behind, but otherwise, it's nothing out of the ordinary. So with that, I guess, Chris, you were saying Rosalind was just sort of awaiting her time as well?
Essentially,
or-
she keeps sneaking glances at Sharp.
Okay.
What?
That's good. Gotta keep her on her toes.
Yeah.
So you guys sort of settle into something of a lull, a bit of a quiet, as everybody's sort of in their thoughts, sort of kind of watching, kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop. Now that the sort of adrenaline and the chaos of the combat has settled down, and there's a very sort of, I don't want to call it like serene, but there's a sort of peace that settles over the tram as you just sort of get the click and the clack of the rail car as it just sort of moves and goes through. The lights that tend to denote when you're getting close to a stop fade away, and you eventually just sort of end up in the often dark but occasionally brighter tunnels as you guys continue on your way. You pass a number of different things here in the sort of undercountry. Occasionally, you'll sort of see the lights, because you can tell when the tunnel exists because there's a light in the tram car that you're in. But every now and then, it'll sort of fade away. You can tell that the tunnel that you're in is maybe opened up on one side or the other. And you can't always tell what's out there or how deep the cave or whatever thing goes. Every now and then you catch glimpses of a, like, say, small grotto of sort of luminescent, like, mushrooms. Every now and then there will be crystals that glow in sort of a different selection of colors depending on which sort of patch you cross here or there.
I'm taking approximate notes of where I might find these in a notebook.
Okay. I would say that you guys probably have maybe like an hour and a half journey before you start noticing you sort of cross one particular turn on the tram ride, and when it opens up, it's a much larger space than some of the other ones. Large enough that you can see that there's a small lake that sort of sits in this area, and you can tell because there is a sort of larger than average cluster of yellowish, almost orange sort of crystals that have sort of sprung up on one of these sort of shores of this this sort of underground lake here. And what is noticeable about it is that you spot some signs of industry. There is some machines that appear to be either built into the ground or just situated in and around the crystals, and they sort of have piping that goes somewhere deeper into sort of like a wall that clears seems to have been like cleared away a little bit, and it's going somewhere. And as you kind of pass that, and you move past where you can view the lake, you start noticing more and more of these sort of crystals occasionally here and there. You spot one or two other signs of machinery and tubing and whatnot. If anybody cares to make a check or is interested in what it is, one of you can make the check for me. Also, Marie, Miss Sharp, if you take an interest in what's going on outside, I can also just tell you what they are.
Yes.
I'd like to roll for it.
Yes, rocks.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So make a insight and insight.
Insight and insight. Okay. My ears kind of go back too as I am seeing all this, like the crystal, the nature of the crystals, and then the kind of industrial stuff happening next to it. 9 total.
9.
Yeah.
You can't quite piece together what they are there for, or why they would just be like machines mixed in with the nature of it. But you can piece together. It's quite different than the sort of thing that you would have seen around the island that you grew up in. You can't say that you've seen a lot of elemental crystals, but the sort of mix of magic sort of imbued into the nature is similar to certain kinds of trees or plants, and occasionally like gemstones and things like that you have seen around the island that you grew up in. So you recognize these areas as having some sort of elemental power to them, but as far as what could be happening here, you're unsure as you look at it. And this is definitely not the sort of thing that you would have seen where you grew up. Sharp, however, whether she cares to share or not, you recognize obviously what this is, because you are a professor of geomantic magic. This is a thing that you have studied a great deal. This is some of the sort of naturally occurring sort of magical ley lines. As elemental energy courses through the world, it tends to sort of gather up in certain points, sort of infuses the natural world, and you can get things like this of different kinds of elemental energies building up. You'll get crystals out of them that can be, not just can the crystals be used if you kind of need magical power, but if you sort of tap into the area itself, it is possible to basically use them as sort of like a magical version of geothermic energy. So it's like a sort of geomantic engines to a degree. Usually using like a kind of like if you use certain kinds of alchemical substances that are sensitive to it, it's sort of like, think of like how a solar panel knows how to sort of turn solar radiation into energy. You can use certain like elementally sensitive alchemical substances to do something similar in these areas. If you had to guess, judging by the make of the machines that you see, they are kobold made. They're a little janky looking. They're a little cobbled together. It's definitely function over form. But the kobolds tend to know what they're doing, especially when it comes to alchemy and things like that. They're pretty staunch and long-term industrialists. So just your experience in the field would tell you that that's what that was. So you guys are more than likely approaching an area with some level of kobold industrialization, and they're using these the different like kind of nexus points of power to power something. effectively their machinery.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
Sharp would not necessarily go that into detail about things, but she would kind of just say aloud, like, oh, this looks like a possible cobalt industrial area or something. Just as like something to point out if anybody cared.
Myra's intrigued, and she will ask some questions about like how the technology works with it, and then also ask more questions about the ley lines as well. She's very curious about that and how that kind of reminds her of home a little bit with the plants back home and similar things.
This could make for a decent place for us to lay low, at least for a bit. Half to Gunolf and half to Jason, I'm going to ask, what do we know about this tram? Specifically, like, so we kind of set it in motion when Sharp was, messing around with the controls and just tried to get us out of there, which she did well. But, like, is this going to stop at this destination and stay? Is it going to keep going on a path after, like, we get off? And also, like, if it does stop, are we expecting other things along this route that could cause collisions when it's not supposed to be here? Like, what do we know about the tram specifically as far as, like, if we stop here, what happens if we don't stop, etc.? Whether that's Gunolf knowing that from messing around with the front, or just Jason, you having at least what cursory knowledge we would have of the trams. Like, what are we looking at here?
So the tram system is, I don't want to commit to saying that it's standardized because enough people can sort of cobble together their own things and make things work. But so like a lot of times you could just sort of run through an area. If you never braked, you just would not stop, which is why they tend to like denote when you're approaching the stop, so you know that you can. There are, however, systems, at least in this tram. I'm not going to say every tram has it, because you can just sort of strap some shit together and ride your ass down a railway line if you really wanted to. But your tram has the equipment necessary that basically if you were approaching an area that sort of say was like, hey, you need to stop, or like, hey, we're going to stop you, it could be sort of automated, more or less, like you would sort of trip a signal, and it would sort of be like, this is like the equipment between the two communicates with each other, and is like in much the same way that they power stuff, it would allow the tram to know. You'd get a warning, it would say, hey, you're gonna need to stop, and then you would stop, or I guess crash.
Well,
I
so
suppose, but
I think you just answered my question too. My follow-up would be, is there a way that it can operate automatically? So if we were to say send it to the next destination and then get off just to help cover our tracks, a little bit, or would we be sending a death machine that's gonna derail and crash in the next town
and add to our crimes?
Yeah, you could set it so that if it is like, if it receives essentially the signal, like the, hey, you're going to need to stop here soon, it can automatically engage the brake.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can set it up that way if you want. So does that answer your question?
Yep.
And once I wake up, I would ask, well, let's start nearing the next town first before I do that.
So I can say that you definitely appear to be nearing it. Now you're only going to probably get a warning on the brake when you're pretty close. So you may want to decide sooner than later. Like, this isn't like hey, you've got 15 minutes or whatever. This is going to be like, you're going to get a warning, and it's either going to engage the brake, or you've got like, I don't know, 30 seconds to engage the brake or something like that. Like, it'd be pretty quick.
This is the public bus, and it said Thunderbird Road is coming up, and you need to pull the thing
Yeah,
to
you gotta pull
indicate
it.
stop. Otherwise,
Yep.
bus drivers just gonna.
Yep.
That was so stressful.
Yeah.
Taking
Half the
public-
time, the bus driver might just go anyway.
Yeah.
That's right. He doesn't
Oh
care.
God. Or if you accidentally pull it on the wrong stop. Oh. Worse.
So, I guess, Gunolf, I would say, I would be, getting up. It was a nice nap. I think this is our stopping point, Gunolf. Why don't we see if we can set it for the next destination too, just to not make it so easy for the guards to know where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
The con is we're not going to be able to use the tram again if we do that, but I don't see us getting back on this thing personally.
There's so many trams. There's other ways we could move on. Even hiking, although that'd take an eternity. But there are a lot of trams, a lot of ways to move on. So it would not be the worst thing if we were just send this one on.
This is also a decent chance to find some supplies to stock up. We might as well take advantage of the fact that we're not wanted yet. At least I don't think. Find what we can while we still have people's favor. And then, I mean, to your point, yeah, maybe it's better if we set off in a different direction just to make it harder for us to follow. We'll have to speak with the others, too. I mean, we've been traveling together for a bit, but there's more involved in this than just us, and it's not only our decision to make.
I recommend if we're not immediately arrested upon arrival, which sure hope isn't the case, we should probably not spend more than a day at the town. We're going to want to keep moving. And any of you are welcome to join us or go off on your own way. You certainly don't owe us anything.
Well, some of us owe us, some of us something, right, Albus?
Yeah, I wasn't talking about you or Albus, Gunalp. We are the core. and Rosalind, and I'm mainly talking about like Marie and Myru and Kestrel, who were not with us prior to going to prison.
Well, I'm no longer the new kid on the block. For a while, I had the least amount of seniority, but now there's fresh meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I respond to that?
I'm saying like you can make your own choice, and so you have time to think. Maybe you decide, you know what, I don't like these guys. I'm gonna go off on my own, and then we make Maya a new character.
The natural decision.
I will say I'm following Kestrel as I've been instructed by Dr. Bishop to watch over you.
And
I know who this person is, right?
Yeah, that's that one. I just lucked into remembering their name. That's that doctor who like loved you
Yeah, I think you were very close to her.
in the prison.
Yeah.
Well, I know Dr. Bishop, but do I
No,
really
Sharp.
know Sharp? Like, was I just told, hey, because I was given some stuff.
You were given
Yeah.
some stuff.
Mhm.
You were told to look for somebody like Jacobs. And so, like, I suppose, Sharp, did you ever introduce yourself properly?
I guess not.
So I don't know that you've necessarily put together that the thing that you're holding to give to somebody
Mhm.
should go to Sharp, who
To-
who does know who you are, because that's been put into Sharp's head.
Yeah.
But
I tried to lean into that by saying, "Hey, let's go up to Marie."
Mhm.
We
So-
sorry, we can say that we did or something.
No, actually,
I'm sorry.
It works because if you're saying I'm only going where Kestrel goes, that can start this conversation of like, but why? And and then we can.
Yeah,
still
we're not
get
supposed
there.
to know anything
Yeah.
about Bishop, and
Sure.
that's only between those two, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can I try to figure out if this is the person I'm looking for?
absolutely.
Sure.
Make probably an insight and probably like willpower. Sure.
Okay.
Our house
Okay. How do I
might blow down.
combine?
I know.
Yeah, to say,
How do I
well,
make that roll? I'm sorry.
under rolls,
Uh,
there should be a combination of every 2-stat type of roll, and then you can.
Yeah, it's the rolls tab. There's the preset rolls, which
Okay.
is
There's
makes it easy.
interrogate and persuade. Those would be great.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So it's insight willpower. Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, a bit of trying to actually notice and to sort of tear yourself away from the window to kind of.
Okay. This is mind blowing. The sights outside.
There's a lot of distractions right now, so you got to focus and notice some stuff.
Modifier? No, 0.
Correct.
Okay. Check that out.
Nice. It's an 8 and a 5 for 13.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. It finally dawns on you at one point, looking over, and you see Sharp, who kind of keeps eyeballing you. Her little ghostly eyeballs, kind of watching you.
Mhm.
That like, you're suddenly like, oh, yeah, I have this thing, and I'm supposed to look for somebody that kind of matches this person right here. Like,
Mhm.
it dawns on you that it's probably not a coincidence that one of the people on this tram is exactly the kind of person that you were supposed to be looking for as per Jacobs. And you're like,
Mhm.
oh, wait, maybe this is the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I heard people call her Sharp? I know I'm looking for Sharp though.
I said Marie, and then I also called her Miss Sharp. So
Okay, so then yeah, I was gonna say I don't
So
know.
I
which one
probably
you
just
did.
know who this person is. Cool. Well, hey,
Hmm.
investigated a little bit. Yeah, I kind of want to like, shuffle over and be like, you're Sharp, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry I never officially introduced myself during the chaos that all of that was. You're Kestrel, right? I guess I should confirm. Okay.
Very enthusiastic bob of a head.
Hmm.
I don't know where I'm keeping this nonsense that was shoved into my pocket and my hands.
Where you
but-
could just, I don't know, toss it down your shirt or whatever you want
Pull
to
it
do with
out,
it.
yeah.
That's up
but
to you.
I kind of pull it out and I kind of look at her and I'm like, Rachel, friend at facility, told me to give this to you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Take
Well,
it, and
do
it
you
is
want to
one of
read
those.
it?
I don't know. What is it again? Is it a piece of paper?
It is no. It is one of those sort of kind of metallic magical discs that has like a lot of small runes and stuff on it that
Right.
people can implant, like sort of a memory message, so to speak.
Oh, so the same thing that I got mailed to me, right?
Mhm.
Correct. The same same technology, the same kind of message, effectively. Yeah.
Awesome.
I kinda also want to ask, like, do, do you know when we'll see Rachel again?
Will I see Rachel again?
Do you know where she is? We didn't get to talk when she was helping me escape. Don't know where she is. She told me to look for you.
Do I know where she? I don't think I know, but do I know? Okay.
You do not know. You do not know. And make me I will just say that okay, there's no way to know for sure, but your intuition, I will even call it informed intuition, because of the last message that you received, because they are sort of memories, they are impressions, and they include emotional sort of data. Your impression of Bishop's own thoughts regarding this whole escape attempt is that it may be the sort of thing that she may not make it out of.
Okay.
That was the emotional impression that you got.
Yeah.
So your
So-
informed intuition is that odds are you may not ever see Bishop again.
Yeah.
But you don't technically know that.
Right, and I'm definitely not going to disclose that to this kiddo.
She's dead.
She's
dead.
No, she's gone.
Bishop, she's gone. I'm your new mama now. No, yeah, I thought that was kind of what I was getting, especially like when she said bye to Kestrel and stuff. Like, but for this situation, I'll just tell I'm not sure, but I would anticipate she's doing her everything she can to get back to you once she kind of figures out her next steps, to kind of give an answer if I don't know, but a little bit of hope for Kestrel, because that's really sad.
Okay. Could could you help me find her?
Yes. Yeah, I think you and I are gonna be sticking together for a while here, so we'll be
Okay.
once we find Bishop, or we'll be together for a while. So yep, we're a pair.
Okay. I look a little reassured by this.
Okay, good. Yay.
If you want, we can have an opposed check to see if you can spot that Sharp may not be entirely truthful with
Ooh.
you.
I'd love to.
Oh shit.
So both of you will make an insight and a willpower check, and then we'll see who gets the highest result.
Roll.
Oh no. I'm insight and what?
Willpower.
And
Oh,
willpower.
Willpower.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
How's your computer holding together?
Insight and willpower, honey. You can just click on persuade too if you.
Oh, well, Maisie got a double.
There you go.
That's 2
It's
fives.
a double
Not
5, but
it's not
yeah.
enough to crit,
Right.
but it is enough to beat Kestrel's.
So sad.
Kestrel's.
So this
girl.
child
Just being
fully
lied to.
believes you.
First
It
day,
really
first
I'm-
day of freedom, and
I'm
her
trying
best friend
to
lies
be
to her.
nice. I don't wanna
Relationships built on trust.
Like, I'm not gonna be like, hey kiddo, your mom's dead. Like, your life's a fucking trash bin. Like,
Yeah.
no. A little bit.
Yeah, Sharp seems at the very least trustworthy. So
Dude, I'm so happy to hear it.
Oh no.
um
You know what would be good really quick. Now that we're all together, we're all here. We should like quick, if this is okay, just quick recap on like goals. As a reminder for us, anybody who's watching. So I think that would be good, just really fast. So
Oh,
I was thinking about doing that if we were going to like stay the night at an inn or something of that nature. Like once we settled into some place of lodging, I thought maybe we could bring that up then. But
okay, well, why don't we do that?
yeah, I have a
that
feeling
works.
you guys will cover it in character here
Okay,
if you guys
okay.
find a good
yeah,
stopping
because we
point.
do need formal introductions. Like, and Ross also has questions for Myru, but it's like, well, now we're about at our destination, so she's kind of holding back.
Okay,
So
that's
was
great.
your plan to get off early or just roll on in to the destination?
We should get off a little bit early so that we can scope out that there's not an ambush waiting for us.
Oh yeah, like before the town, essentially. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I might even just be like, I'm an old man, you don't gotta listen to me, but experience tells me this might be a good call. What do you guys think?
Are we gonna tuck and roll off the train?
Oh, let's slow it down.
Oh, okay.
And there might be a little tucking
little bit
and
better
a
than
little
that.
bit of rolling, but not so bad.
I'm in a spacesuit.
Okay.
I'll be fine.
Just glass screen into the wall and just yeah.
Yeah, it explodes.
Just explodes. Yeah, I got this, guys.
Bye, Kestrel. Everyone's dead now.
Yeah, apparently anchorites. It doesn't matter if they die. So if you could just go first every time, that'd be great.
Okay, so you guys are basically going to sort of engage the brake, get off early, and then like basically sort of restart it, make sure the like kind of auto brake is on, and then like hop off whoever turned it back on. You're gonna just sort of do like slow your roll, hop off, get it going, sort of thing.
And if there's a way to just take care of this now, of like have it programmed in so it's going to stop and then, you know, head to the next destination afterwards so that it's now out of the town. And if anybody's tracking the tram, it's not just clearly, okay, well, they stopped in this town, so that's definitely where they're at.
So you can't tell it to stop and then just like start again. I mean, look, engineering aside, I'm sure you could jury rig something like that with enough time. But the trains don't come built so that you can just flip some levers and they'll just run endlessly unmanned. That'd be incredibly dangerous. So if you tell it to stop, it'll stop until somebody else tells it to go again, effectively.
Well, what we could do, since we're going to be walking to the town anyway, like we'll make it stop, and then when we get there, we'll just make it go.
Yeah, that can be the secondary thing that we do if the coast is clear.
Yeah.
Also, are there 2 bodies on this train?
There are 2 suits
Just
of armor.
suits.
Just
Yeah.
empty suits?
They are empty suits. Yes.
You can throw them out the window.
Get rid of the evidence.
As it's rolling. Maybe the magic mushrooms will eat the suits.
Actually, I would probably think when we stop, we can take them out at that point rather than throwing them from the moving train.
I mean, they're just bits of metal. They're just
That'd be
armor.
funny.
Yeah.
Chuck them out the window.
Yeah, we'll
No one's
we'll
gonna give a
stop.
Super
We'll pop them
respectful.
against a rock. We'll kind of hide them, and that'll be fine.
We'll make a scarecrow out of
No, maybe not that.
Yeah.
Put their head on
yeah, a
stage.
message for all the other guards.
Yeah, it's a great way
Yeah.
to get us no forgiveness.
Well, no, we'll set up the scarecrow and have it pointing one direction. And
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that'll
Why don't
direct
we?
that way.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're gonna sort of find a stopping point, and then get off. Take the 2 armor bodies off with you, and then tell it to keep going and automatically stop when it gets to the next destination.
Mhm.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's nothing that you would need to roll for. You can hit all the buttons that you need to. The tricky part is beep, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Beep, boop. Yeah, Albus is
It's,
just do it.
The tricky part is finding a spot that sort of has enough room for you to get off on. But there is you do come across a spot. It's maybe not the most room. It's maybe a little tight, but there is enough room for you guys to basically hop out of the car, and not just be like pressed up super close to the track. And so you basically do exactly as you guys had planned. Gunolf basically engages the brake, kind of runs it to a stop. You guys all disembark. You are in a tunnel, and there are you can see like the lights they now exist, so that you're very close to approaching your destination. It would be in like a couple minutes effectively at tram speed, and so you guys disembark, and then Gunolf basically sort of kind of engages the engine again, make sure the auto brake is turned on, and then hops off as it starts chugging along. So you guys are now in a tunnel. You just see the tram just right out past you guys, and it sort of settles into a sort of silence of just you guys in a tunnel, sort of dimly lit with these sort of orangish lights, little chem lights that kind of power or kind of set up along the edges. Yeah, very roughly sort of hewn. As far as the tunnel's concerned, you can tell that a lot of it was sort of just done quickly, probably with some sort of machine. Although there are certain areas of it that kind of get exposed to show like natural curvature and stuff. So they probably just sort of used parts of existing tunnels and also dug out their own ones. So yeah. You guys do whatever that movie is where all the boys are walking on the train track. You do one of those,
Stand by me.
and
Mhm.
yeah, you guys gotta do a stand.
Myra will step towards the front and conjure a flame in her hand, which appears blue at first, and then as it starts burning, it changes to orange to help light a path.
Thank you.
And I am just gonna prop up the guards on the wall in a nice way to where they seem comfy, even though they're just empty suits.
I thought we were going to dispose of them.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were in a tunnel.
Oh,
We
that makes it
forgot.
harder,
Yeah.
so-
I mean, is the
you're,
ground
you-
soft?
you're going to mark exactly where we disembarked.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
I
yeah,
don't know
that's
what else to do.
that's
'cause
why we
then-
had to throw them out.
Why would anybody else be out of the train there?
Maybe
You
look
can carry them with you, and if there is another spot along the way here that dips off, you
Yeah.
could
Okay.
try to like toss them down that way. That's
Let's do
certainly
that.
possible.
I can
Sure.
carry one of the
I was gonna
bodies.
ask Albus to carry one of them.
Yeah, I'll carry one of the bodies.
All right.
I just have one slung over my shoulder.
Okay.
Now,
There.
oh, sorry. Do the trams have like headlights? So if one's coming from behind us, we'll be able to see it. Okay. Good.
Worried
They
about
do.
safety.
Yeah,
fair question.
I don't want to get fucking ran over.
Sure.
I'm so fragile.
Yes, they do.
Okay, good.